The thing about family dinners is that they always start with smiles and end with daggers. Tonight was no exception, except the daggers came with a price tag. $50,000 to be exact. I'm Louisa, and I've spent the last decade perfecting the art of deflecting passive-aggressive comments from my brother Arthur and his wife Valerie. Usually, it's about my single status, my selfish career choices, or how I'm wasting my youth by not settling down. I've learned to let their words slide off me like water. Pass the salt? Valerie's sugary voice cut through the clinking of silverware. She was wearing that pearl necklace Arthur bought her last Christmas. The one she made sure to tell me was real, not costume jewelry. I handed her the shaker, catching the familiar look of disapproval as she eyed my blazer. Still wearing work clothes to family dinner? Some things never change. Some of us have evening meetings, I replied, taking a sip of water. The pasta was overcooked, but I'd learned to keep those observations to myself. Arthur cleared his throat. Speaking of work, he exchanged a look with Valerie that made my stomach tighten. We've been meaning to talk to you about something important. We found the perfect house. Valerie jumped in, her eyes lighting up. 4 bedrooms, gorgeous backyard, amazing school district. It's everything we've dreamed of. That's great, I said cautiously, waiting for the other shoe to drop. The thing is, Arthur leaned forward, we're a bit short on the down payment. We need $50,000 to secure it. I stopped mid-bite. Excuse me? We've been looking at our options, Valerie continued, as if we were discussing borrowing a cup of sugar. And since you're doing so well with your, whatever it is you do in tech, software development, I corrected automatically, though they never bothered to remember. Right, well, you have all this disposable income, being single and all. No real responsibilities. Valerie's hand drifted to her stomach in what I knew was a deliberate gesture. We thought, since you're family, you want me to give you $50,000? I set my fork down, the metal clicking against porcelain with more force than necessary. Not give, Arthur interjected. Think of it as an investment in your future nieces and nephews. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Are you serious? This is exactly what I told you would happen, Valerie hissed at Arthur. She's always been selfish with her money. Selfish? I pushed my chair back. You show up to dinner and demand 50 grand, like you're entitled to my savings, and I'm selfish? You live in that fancy downtown apartment. Arthur's voice rose. You take those expensive trips. With money I earned, I cut him off. Every dollar. While you were telling me I was wasting my time with startups, I was working 80-hour weeks. When Valerie was posting about how I'd die alone with my laptop, I was building something. My answer is no. You wouldn't even do this for family? Arthur stood up, his face flushed. For your own brother? Family goes both ways, Arthur. When's the last time either of you asked about my life without making it about what I'm doing wrong? Valerie's eyes narrowed. We're trying to build a future here, a real family. But I guess you wouldn't understand that concept. I understand perfectly. I grabbed my purse. I understand you think being married makes you more entitled to my money than I am. I understand you've both spent years making me feel less than because I chose a different path. And I understand that this dinner was just another manipulation. You'll regret this, Arthur called after me as I headed for the door. Family is supposed to help family. I turned back one last time. You're right. Family is supposed to help family. Remember that the next time you need something from your selfish sister? The drive home was a blur of streetlights and suppressed screams. In my apartment, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, gripping the marble counter until my knuckles went white. You shouldn't have done that, I whispered to my reflection. But I wasn't talking about refusing the money. I was talking about what I was about to do next. My phone buzzed, a message from Valerie. I hope you're happy choosing money over family. Some sister you turned out to be. I smiled at the screen, a cold, quiet smile that would have shocked them both. Because what they didn't know what they'd never bothered to ask, was that I wasn't just some software developer. I was the founder and CEO of AxianTech, and I was done playing small. 6 years ago, I was eating ramen noodles in a studio apartment with a mattress on the floor and a dream in my laptop. Today, I'm sitting in my corner office, watching the city sparkle 40 floors below, while my HR director, Sylvia, places a familiar resume on my desk. Another senior dev application, she says. Strong background, great references, but there's something interesting about this one. I pick up the paper, and my coffee nearly slips from my hand. Arthur's name stares back at me in clean professional font. "You okay?" Sylvia asks, noticing my reaction. "Remember how I told you about my brother?" I hand the resume back. "Meet the applicant." Sylvia's eyes widen. Oh wow. Should I reject it? I lean back in my chair, memories flooding back. The night I launched AxianTech's first product, I'd called Arthur, excited to share my success. He'd cut me off mid-sentence to talk about his new promotion. When our platform hit 1 million users, Valerie had spent the entire family dinner talking about her friend's wedding. "No," I say slowly. "Process it normally. But I want to handle the final interview personally." My phone buzzes. Speak of the devil. A text from Arthur. "Great news. Got an interview at AxianTech. Heard they're the next big thing. Finally getting out of this dead-end job." "That's wonderful," I type back, my fingers trembling slightly. "Good luck." Lionel, my CTO and oldest friend, drops by later with our usual afternoon coffee. "Heard about your brother's application," he says, closing my office door. "You sure about this? Remember when I started AxianTech?" I ask, accepting the coffee. "I was working 2 jobs, coding until 3 a.m. Arthur told everyone I was playing entrepreneur instead of finding a real career." "I remember. You cried in that Thai restaurant." "I wasn't crying. I had spicy noodles." "Lou, you were definitely crying." I smiled despite myself. The point is, I built this company while they were mocking my choices. I kept my name out of the press, used LJ Green for all public appearances, because I wanted to succeed on my own terms. But now your brother's walking right into your web? Leonel raises an eyebrow. "Sounds like karma to me." My computer pings. An email from Keith Olson, a venture capitalist who's been trying to buy into AxianTech for months. He's also an old college classmate who knows exactly who I am. "Speaking of webs," I mutter, opening the message. "Keith's threatening to accidentally reveal my identity at next week's tech conference. Want me to handle it?" I shake my head. "I've got this. Besides, I have a more interesting problem to solve." I pull up Arthur's interview schedule. "How do you feel about sitting in on a very special final round?" The next week passes in a blur of preparation. I choose my outfit carefully. A simple black dress that looks nothing like my usual CEO wardrobe. I arrange the conference room so my nameplate isn't visible until the right moment. Sylvia pokes her head in an hour before the interview. He's here early, very confident. Kept mentioning his natural leadership qualities to the receptionist. "Sounds like Arthur," I say, adjusting my laptop. "How's Valerie?" "Waiting in the lobby. Says she's his good luck charm." Perfect. At exactly 2 p.m., Arthur walks in, all polished shoes and practiced smile. He doesn't recognize me at first, too busy scanning the room for the CEO he's expecting. "Please, have a seat," I say softly. He sits, still smiling. "Thank you. I'm very excited to..." His voice trails off as recognition dawns. "Louisa?" I reach over and turn my nameplate around. "That's CEO Green to you, actually." The color drains from his face. You're the founder and CEO of AxianTech?" "Yes. Surprised?" I keep my voice professional, calm. "I believe you called it my little computer project at Thanksgiving 2 years ago. This isn't... you can't what, Arthur? Run a successful tech company? Make my own fortune? Or maybe I lean forward slightly. You think I can't decide whether you're qualified to work for me? He swallows hard. Look, about the other night. Oh, we'll get to that, I say, opening his file. But first, let's discuss your experience with team leadership. I'm particularly interested in your views on family loyalty. The look on his face is worth every bowl of ramen I ever ate. The voicemail from my mother hits me during a board meeting. Louisa, honey, I know things are tense right now, but Valerie's been crying all week. They really need this house, sweetie. Sometimes we have to put family first. I exit the conference room, my heels clicking against marble as I dial my best friend Maureen. They got to Mom, I say when she picks up. Of course they did. Maureen's voice crackles through the speaker. Valerie's probably been over there every day, working her magic. What did your mom say? The usual guilt trip. Family first. As if I haven't been their personal ATM for years. Block them, Maureen says firmly. All of them. You don't need this toxicity. My phone buzzes with a text. Valerie again. Just thought you should know I'm pregnant. But I guess my baby's future means nothing to you. Oh my God, I breathe. Maureen, she's pregnant. And? That's supposed to make her entitled to your money? Before I can respond, my assistant rushes in. Ms. Green, Keith Olson is here. He doesn't have an appointment, but send him in. I straighten my jacket. Maureen, I'll call you back. Keith saunters into my office like he owns it. Louisa, or should I say, the mysterious L.J. Green? What do you want, Keith? Just checking if you've reconsidered my offer. $10 million for a 20% stake. He drops into the chair across from me. Before someone accidentally mentions your real identity at tomorrow's tech conference. I lean forward. That sounds suspiciously like blackmail, Keith. Insurance. I've got investors waiting. All I need is... My phone lights up with the family group chat. Arthur's message pops up. Mom's devastated. Hope you're happy. I silence the phone and turn back to Keith. Let me be clear. You can't pressure me into selling. And if you try to expose my identity, I smile coldly. I have emails. Very interesting emails about your creative accounting at your last 3 startups. Keith's smile falters. You're bluffing. Try me. After he leaves, I open my laptop and type a message to the family group chat. My money. My rules. Stop asking. Immediate chaos erupts. Mom. Louisa, please be reasonable. Arthur. Real mature, sis. Valerie. I knew you'd be like this. So selfish. I close the chat and pull up Instagram. There it is. Valerie's pregnancy announcement. A artfully posed photo of her holding her stomach. Caption reading, Some people choose material wealth. We choose family. Hash her blessed new life chart priorities. My office door opens and Leonel walks in. You okay? You look ready to throw that phone through a window. I'm fine. I'm not fine. Did you see the interview recordings? Yeah. Arthur was interesting. Technical skills are solid, but he spent 10 minutes explaining how he's a natural leader because he's the oldest sibling. Something about guiding his little sister through life. Leonel raises an eyebrow. Want to guess who he was talking about? I laugh bitterly. Guiding me? He told me I was wasting my time when I started this company. So what's the plan? I haven't decided. I stare out the window. Part of me wants to hire him just to make him report to me every day. That's petty. Leonel grins. I like it. My phone buzzes again. A private message from Arthur. Look, I know you're mad about the money thing, but this job would change my life. I've got a baby on the way now. You wouldn't punish your own niece or nephew, would you? Still using guilt as a weapon, I mutter. You know, Leonel says carefully, you could just end this. Tell them who you are. Watch their faces when they realize their irresponsible sister is actually... No. I stand up, pacing. Not yet. They need to learn something first. Which is? That actions have consequences. That you can't treat people like garbage for years and then expect handouts. I stop at the window. That sometimes the person you're looking down on is actually looking down on you. My phone lights up with a final message from Valerie. Family dinner tomorrow. Mom insists. Time to act like an adult and apologize. I type back 2 words. Can't make it. Then I block them all. You sure about this? Leonel asks. I think about years of snide comments, of being treated like a failure, of having my success diminished and dismissed. Yes, I say. I'm very sure. The conference room feels different today. Colder. More like an arena than a meeting space. I adjust my simple black dress, so unlike my usual CEO attire, and check my reflection in the darkened window. The woman staring back at me looks nothing like the little sister Arthur loves to patronize. 5 minutes, Sylvia announces, poking her head in. He's in the lobby with Valerie. She's making quite an impression. Let me guess. Telling everyone how this job is meant to be? Actually, she's explaining to the receptionist how her husband will revolutionize the company. Sylvia smirks. Should I tell her the CEO might have thoughts about that? Not yet. I settle into my chair, positioning my laptop to hide my nameplate. Let's make this interesting. Lionel takes his place beside me, tablet ready. Last chance to back out, Lou. Not a chance. The door opens, and Arthur strides in like he's already been given the job. His confidence falters slightly when he sees only 3 people in the room. Please have a seat, I say quietly. We're just waiting for our CEO. Of course. He smooths his tie. I have to say, I'm excited about this opportunity. I've been following Axion Tech's growth, and I really think I could take the development team to the next level. Really? I keep my voice neutral. Tell us more about that. Well, I've always been a natural leader, even in my family. I'm the older sibling, you see. Had to show my sister the ropes, though she never quite... He trails off, finally really looking at me. Wait. I reach over and turn my nameplate around. Please continue. I'm fascinated by your leadership experience. The color drains from his face. Louisa, this is surprising? I lean forward. That your little sister built the company you're so eager to revolutionize? This isn't... You can't... He looks desperately at Lionel. Is this some kind of joke? No joke, Lionel says calmly. She founded Axion Tech 6 years ago, while you were telling her to get a real job, if I remember correctly. Arthur's hands clench on his portfolio. So this whole interview process was just a setup? Revenge for not giving you the attention you wanted? Attention? I laugh. Arthur, you and Valerie have spent years treating me like I was wasting my life. Then you had the audacity to demand $50,000 from me because, what was it? I had no real responsibilities? That was different. We're family. Family? I open his file. Let's talk about family. 3 years ago, when I launched our first product, what did you say to Mom? He shifts uncomfortably. I don't remember. You said, and I quote, "At least when Louisa's little computer project fails, she can come work for me. Want to know our current valuation? Look, I didn't know. 200 million, I cut him off. That's what my little computer project is worth. And you want to know the best part? I kept my identity secret because I wanted to succeed without family connections. But you walked right into my office anyway." His face hardens. So that's it? You're going to reject me just to prove a point? No, Arthur. I'm going to evaluate you fairly, just like any other candidate. I pull up his technical assessment. Let's discuss your coding test results. For the next 30 minutes, I grill him professionally, watching him squirm as he realizes just how much his little sister understands about his field. Every technical question makes him sink lower in his chair. One final question, I say, closing my laptop. Why should I hire someone who doesn't respect me? That's not fair. Isn't it? Last week you called me selfish for not giving you my money. You've dismissed my career choices for years. Your wife posts passive-aggressive comments about my life choices. Why would I want that energy in my company? Because I'm your brother, he says quietly. And I need this. You're right about one thing. You are my brother, which is why this isn't personal. I stand up. It's business. And in business, we hire people who add value, not take it away. Louisa, please. Thank you for coming in, Arthur. Sylvia will show you out. I gather my things. Oh, and when you see Valerie in the lobby, tell her the CEO said congratulations on the pregnancy. Family is everything after all. I walk out, leaving him sitting there, his world turned upside down. Through the glass walls, I see Valerie's face as Arthur emerges, defeated. She looks up at the executive floor, and for a moment, our eyes meet. I smile and wave, just a little, before turning away. Sometimes karma doesn't need a push. Sometimes it just needs an audience. The rejection email sits in my drafts folder for exactly 3 minutes before I hit send. Professional, courteous, final. While your technical skills are impressive, we don't feel you're the right cultural fit for Axion Tech at this time. My phone explodes immediately. First Arthur. Are you serious? After everything? Then Valerie. You vindictive bitch. Mom. Please call me. We need to talk about what you're doing to this family. I silence them all and turn to Lionel, who's been watching from my office couch. Was it too much? Probably, he shrugs. But so was demanding 50 grand and calling you selfish. My office phone buzzes. Ms. Green, your brother's wife is here. She's insisting. Of course she is. I straighten my desk. Send her up. You want backup? Lionel asks. No, this is between sisters-in-law. Valerie bursts in like a storm in designer heels, her face flushed. How dare you? Good morning to you too, Valerie. Please have a seat. Don't you patronize me? She slams her hands on my desk. You set this whole thing up, didn't you? Got some sick pleasure watching Arthur squirm? Actually, Arthur applied all on his own. Karma's funny that way. Karma. She laughs bitterly. You're the CEO of Axion Tech. All this time, while we were worried about you wasting your life, you were… What? Laughing at us? No, Val. I was working, building something. Remember all those family dinners I missed? I was here. Those lazy weekends you mocked me for? I was coding. But you never asked, did you? Oh, please. You could have told us. Why? So you could ask for more than 50,000? She flinches. That's not fair. We're having a baby. Which doesn't entitle you to my money. I stand up. Let me show you something. I lead her to the window, pointing to the building across the street. See that studio apartment on the 20th floor? I lived there when I started this company. No furniture except a mattress on the floor and a desk I built from old pallets. Want to know what you and Arthur were doing then? She stays silent. You were posting about my sad single life on Facebook, making jokes about my cute little computer hobby at Christmas, telling everyone how worried you were about my future. We were trying to help. No, you were trying to feel superior. I turned to face her. And now that you know the truth, you're not angry that you hurt me. You're angry that I'm not who you thought I was, someone you could look down on. That's not… She stops, her hand drifting to her stomach. We really do need that house, Louisa. Then I suggest Arthur starts job hunting again. I hear there are plenty of tech companies in the city. I walk back to my desk, though they might want to check his references. You wouldn't. I wouldn't have to. Word gets around in tech circles. I sit down. But I'm not vindictive, Valerie. I'm just done being your ATM. Done being family, you mean. Family respects each other. Family celebrates success instead of trying to diminish it. Family doesn't demand money with guilt trips and manipulation. Her phone chimes. Arthur, probably wondering how it's going. She checks it, then looks up with tears in her eyes. He really needed this job. I know, but he needed to learn something more important. Which is that the sister he thought he was better than has been better than him all along. I press the intercom. Sylvia, please escort Mrs. Green out. Valerie straightens her shoulders. This isn't over. Actually, it is. Oh, and Val? I smile sweetly. Those pearls Arthur bought you last Christmas? The ones you made sure to tell me were real? I know the jeweler. They're fake. After she leaves, Lionel comes back in. That was cold. The pearls comment? Yeah, maybe. I sink into my chair. But 6 years of condescension had to end somewhere. You okay? I look at my phone. 27 missed calls, 43 messages. The family meltdown is in full swing. No, I admit. But I will be. Want to grab dinner? That new place on 5th? Can't. I have a meeting with our lawyers. I pull up my calendar. Time to make sure my family can't touch this company, no matter how entitled they feel. Now that, Lionel says, is definitely cold. No, I correct him. That's business. The lawyers are still in my office when my mother arrives unannounced. I see her through the glass walls, arguing with Sylvia at reception. She's wearing her serious conversation outfit, the blue dress she saves for graduations and interventions. We need to wrap this up, I tell the legal team. Family crisis incoming. They're barely out the door when Mom storms in. What have you done? Hello to you too, Mom. Please, come in. Don't get smart with me. She drops her purse on my desk. Your brother is devastated. Valerie's been crying for hours. And you're sitting here in your fancy office playing CEO? I'm not playing anything, Mom. This is my company. I built it. By lying to us for years? Hiding your success? For what? Some twisted revenge? I pull out my phone and play the voicemail she left last week. Her own voice fills the room. Louisa, honey, sometimes we have to put family first. Interesting choice of words, I say, stopping the playback. Where was family first when Arthur and Valerie were mocking my career? When did anyone in this family put me first? That's different. Because I'm the younger sister? Because I'm single? Or because until today, you all thought I was less successful than Arthur? She sits down heavily. We were worried about you. No, you were judging me. There's a difference. I lean forward. Did you know I lived on ramen for 2 years to start this company? That I worked 80-hour weeks? That I cried myself to sleep some nights because my own family thought I was a failure? Why didn't you tell us? Would it have mattered? Or would you have just asked for money sooner? She flinches. That's not fair. Arthur and Valerie are starting a family. Stop. I stand up. Just stop. Their pregnancy doesn't entitle them to my money. Their marriage doesn't make them better than me. And you coming here to guilt-trip me isn't going to work anymore. I'm your mother, and I'm your daughter. But you've never once asked about my company, my success, my dreams. I walk to the window. Do you know what we do here? What Axion Tech actually creates? She's silent. We develop software that helps small businesses compete with corporations. Last year, we helped 3,000 family businesses stay afloat during the recession. I employ 400 people. I've created something meaningful. I turn back to her. But all you see is a bank account that could help your precious firstborn. That's not true. Really? Then why are you here? To congratulate me on building a successful company? Or to convince me to give Arthur money? She looks away, and I have my answer. I thought so. I press the intercom. Sylvia, could you come in, please? Sylvia appears instantly. Yes, Ms. Green? Please show my mother out, and update the visitor policy. No family members without an appointment. Louisa! Mom stands up. You can't just... I can. And I am. I sit back down. Oh, and Mom? That trust fund you and Dad set up for Arthur's baby? The one you mentioned at dinner last month? Maybe use that for their house down payment. Her face goes pale. How did you? I'm a CEO, Mom. Information is my business. I open my laptop, dismissing her. Sylvia will show you out. After she leaves, I pull up my email. There's a message from Keith Olson. Heard about the family drama. Ready to sell yet? Everyone has a price. I type back 2 words. Not everyone. My phone buzzes with a text from Marin. Drinks? You look like you need them. God, yes. Meet you in 20. I grab my coat and head for the elevator. In the lobby, I pass the wall of press clippings. Articles about Axion Tech's rise, our innovations, our impact. Not one mentions my name, just LJ Green, founder and CEO. Another text comes through. Arthur. You've destroyed this family. I type back, no, I just stopped letting it destroy me. Then I block his number, step into the evening air, and breathe deeply. Sometimes the hardest part of standing up for yourself isn't facing your enemies. It's realizing that the people who should have been in your corner were actually in your way. The family intervention happens on a Sunday. They choose the house I grew up in, probably hoping childhood memories will soften me up. I park my car in the driveway, next to Arthur's beat-up sedan, and take a deep breath. You don't have to go in, Marin says from the passenger seat. She insisted on driving with me. We could just get brunch instead. No, let's end this properly. Inside, they're all waiting. Mom, Dad, Arthur, Valerie, even my Aunt Susan. They've arranged the living room like a courtroom, with an empty chair facing everyone else. Glad you could make time for us, Valerie says, her hand resting on her barely visible bump. Let's skip the passive-aggressive warm-up, I say, remaining standing. Why am I here? Dad clears his throat. Sit down, Louisa. We need to talk about what you're doing to this family. What I'm doing? I laugh. That's rich. You humiliated your brother, Mom cuts in, rejected him from a job he desperately needed, right when they're starting a family. He applied to my company. He wasn't qualified. End of story. It's not that simple, Arthur stands up. You deliberately set me up, made me look like a fool. You did that yourself, I snap. Or did you forget how you spent the interview bragging about being my superior? Children, please, Aunt Susan interjects. We're here because we love you both. No, you're here because I stopped being the family ATM. I turn to face them all. Let's be honest. None of you cared about my career until you found out I was successful. None of you supported my dreams until they came with dollar signs. That's not true, Mom protests. We were worried. About what? That I'd be happy? Successful? Independent? I pull out my phone. Let's review, shall we? Valerie's Facebook post from last Christmas. So sad seeing single-career women during the holidays. Some people just don't understand real fulfillment. Valerie shifts uncomfortably. Arthur's text from 3 months ago. Maybe if you focused less on work and more on finding a husband, Mom would stop worrying. I look at him. How's that working out for you now? You're twisting everything, he says. We're family. Family! My voice rises. Family celebrates success. Family lifts each other up. Family doesn't treat you like a failure and then demand handouts when you prove them wrong. You've changed, Mom whispers. Success has made you cold. No, Mom. Success has made me strong. There's a difference. I straighten my shoulders. I'm done being the family disappointment. Done being the cautionary tale at dinner parties. Done feeling guilty for choosing my own path. So that's it? Arthur stands. You're choosing money over family? No, I'm choosing myself. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing myself. I pull an envelope from my bag. This is a cease and desist letter from my lawyers. No more showing up at my office. No more harassing my employees. No more trying to guilt me into financing your lives. You're serving us with legal papers? Dad looks shocked. Your own family? I'm protecting what I built, what you all mocked until you wanted a piece of it. I head for the door. Consider this my resignation from the role of family scapegoat. Louisa, wait, Valerie calls out. Think about the baby. The baby will be fine. You have that trust fund Mom and Dad set up. I turn back one last time. Oh, and Valerie? Congratulations on the twins. Maybe keep better track of your ultrasound photos before posting them on private Instagram. Their shocked faces follow me out. In the car, Maren squeezes my hand. You okay? No, I admit, starting the engine. But I will be. My phone buzzes one last time. A text from Arthur. I underestimated you. I won't forget that. Neither will I whisper, pulling away from my childhood home. That night I sit in my office, looking out over the city lights. Lionel brings me a coffee and sits quietly beside me. You know what the worst part is? I say finally. I actually wanted them to be proud of me. Not because of the money or success, but because I built something meaningful. They might be one day, he offers, when the shock wears off. Maybe. I sip my coffee, but I'm not waiting around for their approval anymore. My phone lights up with a notification, a news alert about AxionTech's latest innovation. The headline reads, LJ Green's vision reshapes tech industry. I smile. Sometimes the family you choose sees you more clearly than the family you're born into, and sometimes that's enough. The Forbes photographer adjusts his camera while I sit at my desk, the city skyline behind me. Just one more shot, Ms. Green. It's my first public interview as myself, not as LJ Green. The magazine cover will read, The Woman Behind AxionTech, Silicon Valley's Best-Kept Secret. Perfect, he says, lowering the camera. The writer is ready for you now. The interviewer, Sarah, settles into the chair across from me. So why now? Why reveal your identity after all these years? I think about the text I received this morning, a photo of my newborn nieces, sent by my mother. No message, just the image. Some wounds heal slowly. Because hiding who I am meant hiding what I built, I answer, and I'm done diminishing myself to make others comfortable. Your company just hit $1 billion valuation, Sarah notes. Any truth to the rumors about Keith Olson's hostile takeover attempt? Keith learned an expensive lesson about underestimating women in tech. I smile. His investors weren't happy when our legal team exposed his methods. My phone buzzes. Maren sending me a link. It's Valerie's latest mommy blog post. Living with toxic family members, a journey of healing. I almost laugh. The comments are brutal. Sounds like you were the toxic one. And demanding money from successful relatives isn't family values. Ms. Green, Sarah brings me back. About your background. There are rumors about family tension. I built AxionTech while people told me I was wasting my time. I say carefully. That taught me something valuable. Success doesn't need anyone's permission. The interview wraps up, and Lionel appears with coffee. Sylvia's planning the Forbes launch party. Also, you might want to see this. He hands me his tablet. It's Arthur's LinkedIn profile. He's taken a job at a small startup across the country. His status reads, Sometimes the hardest lessons come from those we underestimated. Good for him, I murmur. Really? Yes. He's finally standing on his own feet, instead of trying to stand on mine. My office door opens and Sylvia rushes in. Sorry to interrupt, but there's a situation downstairs. Your father's here. I straighten my jacket. Send him up. Dad looks older than he did at the intervention, more uncertain. He holds a familiar paper bag from the bakery we used to visit every Sunday. Blueberry muffins, he says awkwardly. Your favorite. Why are you here, Dad? He sets the bag down. I saw the pre-release of your Forbes interview. It made me realize I never actually saw what you built. I gesture to the chair. He sits, looking around my office with new eyes. Remember when you taught me to ride a bike? I ask. You said, I'm not holding on, you're doing it yourself. But you were holding on. You fell when I let go. But I got back up. Every time. I lean forward. That's what you taught me. To get back up. So why did you stop believing in me? I never... He stops, reconsidering. Maybe I was wrong. About a lot of things. Maybe? Definitely. He pulls something from his pocket. An old photo of me at my first science fair. You were always different. Special. I forgot that somewhere along the way. Different isn't wrong, Dad. I know that now. He stands up. Your mother. She wants to meet. To talk. But only if you're willing. I think about the photo of my nieces. About fresh starts and second chances. Tell her to call my office. We'll have lunch. I pause. Just us. After he leaves, I open the bag. The muffins smell exactly like childhood sundaes. Leonel appears in the doorway. Everything okay? Getting there. I offer him a muffin. Sometimes healing looks like blueberry muffins and awkward conversations. My phone lights up with a message from Arthur. Congratulations on Forbes. You earned it. All of it. I type back, so did you. Good luck with the new job. Sylvia pokes her head in. Ready for the board meeting? I stand up, smoothing my dress. On my desk, the Forbes proof shows my photo. Not hiding, not apologizing, just succeeding. You know what? I grab my laptop. I'm more than ready. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't cutting people off or proving them wrong. Sometimes it's growing so far beyond their limitations that they're forced to grow too. And sometimes, just sometimes, that growth leads back to something like family. But this time, on your terms.